pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, this is a really exciting day for us because we have the opportunity to welcome our newest member, Commissioner Patty Monahan, and we want to say to you, welcome to the Energy Commission family. This is a very significant moment for the state as well on a number of levels, but most significantly, this is the first time the Energy Commission has been majority women, and I think it sends a really great message to future generations and to the rest of the country. And I just want to say to you personally, I've had the chance to get to know you over the last few years, and the energy and vision and creativity and collaboration that you bring are incredible. And it's really us who are privileged to have you here. So let's give Commissioner Monahan a warm welcome. Would you like to say a few words?
Good morning, everybody. I am really thrilled to be here. And I have to say, I'm much more used to being there than here, so I'm trying to get used to this new vantage point. It is just an exciting time to be involved in California policymaking. And my specialty is transportation. And this is an area where California really is the center of gravity for clean transportation. The policies and programs that get established here, we're seeing migrate to China, to the EU, hopefully to India one day. And we're, at the cusp, I think, of a big transformation, a transformation towards electrification, to zero-emission fuels broadly. And we're also seeing enormous changes in the transportation sector around mobility as a service, these Lyft and Uber type services, and automation. So it's just wonderful to be here at the Commission with such a great set of colleagues, both on the staff level and at the commissioner level. So yeah, thank you. I'm super excited to be here, and this is my first business meeting, so please forgive any transgressions.
All right. With that, let's move on to the consent agenda. I'd like to take, actually before you step out, I'd like to take up items A, C, E, and F on the consent agenda first. Is there a motion for those items?
I'll move those items.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously.
So I'm going to recuse myself from 1B and 1D. 1B is the Collaborative for High Performance Schools, or CHIPS, and I'm the Commission's representative on that entity. And then the National Association of State and Energy Officials, I'm actually the chair of the board right now, and we're, so I'm going to step out for that item as well. Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, we'll take up items B and D on the consent calendar. Is there a motion for those items?
Move approval of B and D.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We'll move on to item 2, Alana Matthews. And before I begin, let me recognize your terrific husband who's here with you as well. Thank you for joining, and we're really excited to celebrate Alana. And I just, we have a resolution, but let's maybe just begin with some comments. And I'd just like to start off and just say I really have appreciated working with you over the last 6 years now, I think. Just you have an enthusiasm and an energy for what you do that's wonderful. And I just think, we look at the direction that we want the Energy Commission to go and the energy industry. We want it to look like California, and you've played a really important role in that, and I really want to thank you. And I just, in visiting with your office this last few weeks, the team you have put together is terrific, and you leave big shoes to fill. But at the same time, we're all really excited to partner with you in your new role. I think the legislature made a great choice, and you'll still be seeing a lot of us. So with that, are there any other comments folks would like to make?
Sure. I would just like to say, Alana, as you know, I'm a huge fan of yours. It has been wonderful to get to work with you over these last 6 years or so. You bring a wealth of expertise and dedication to this work. Your level of enthusiasm and your mastery of the details are unparalleled. leave very big shoes for our next person to fill. And not only do you really have a mastery of all of the details, but you have this wonderful, welcoming, smiling face. And so it's just great for the community outreach, for making people feel welcome, that they can reach out to the commission and find out information, learn how to be engaged and involved. And I feel like commissioners travel quite a bit around the state. Obviously, it's important for us not to always be in Sacramento. We oversee the whole state, but I think you might travel more than all 5 of us combined, making sure to really outreach all around the state, be talking to all communities and making everyone feel welcome and engaged, and learn how to be part of the Energy Commission process. So I really want to thank you for everything that you've done. It has been a great honor and privilege to get to work with you over these last few years, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in your new role.
Yeah, I'll just step in and say, again, thank you and congratulations to Alana. I think Alana has ended up in a wonderful role where she'll be able to make a difference for California and for all Californians going forward. And that is exactly what she did in her time here as public advisor. And it's been a real pleasure to have worked with Alana for all of these years. So thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just agree with all of that. Won't repeat, but Alana, your entrepreneurialism is just really formidable. And we're a state agency, and I think people don't expect us to be out there in the community, like tell us what's wrong. Tell us what's wrong. I can help you get access. And really advocate for communities. And in a state as diverse as ours, that's just it's a big job. It's more than a full-time job, and you dedicated that to it. So really appreciate all your effort here, and good luck going forward. I hope that's not where you end up. I'm sure that's just another step forward, but really we'll look forward to having you in the mix in Sacramento for a long while.
Great.
Thanks.
Well, as a reflection of your commitment to diversity, we have these resolutions in multiple languages, including Chinese and Vietnamese. I'll read the one in English. So with that, and then we'll do a photo. So whereas Alana Matthews has spent more than 16 years in public service working for the state of California, in that time has demonstrated a strong commitment to equity, excellence, and diligence on behalf of Californians. And whereas Alana began her career in public service as an executive fellow at the California Attorney General's office in August 2003, later serving as a deputy district attorney for Sacramento County in May 2004. And whereas in January 2012, Alana began her career with the California Energy Commission in the Office of Chief Counsel as Senior Staff Counsel, where she worked on citing and transactional litigation and enforcement matters. And whereas in July 2013, Alana was appointed to the position of public advisor at the California Energy Commission and served as advisor to the public and commissioners, ensuring the full and adequate participation of any interested parties in the Energy Commission proceedings. And whereas during her tenure as public advisor, Alana expanded the role to assist in all proceedings, including rulemakings, evidentiary hearings, technical workshops, providing recommendations and support to every division on how to improve public engagement and outreach, as well as resolve complaints. And whereas in June 2015, Alana created the Summer Institute for Energy, Law, and Policy to educate students from ethnically diverse and economically disadvantaged backgrounds on key energy issues facing California. And whereas in 2016, Alana's role was expanded to assist with the implementation efforts for 2 legislative mandates, Assembly Bill 865 and Senate Bill 350, to establish a diversity task force to make recommendations on diversity in the energy sector. And whereas in 2016, Alana helped establish and coordinate a joint agency disadvantaged community advisory group as part of efforts to implement SB 350. And whereas as public advisor, Alana spearheaded efforts to create and implement an agency-wide diversity policy to increase the number of underrepresented businesses who participate in the Energy Commission funding opportunities, established the annual diversity career fair, and provided guidance on outreach strategies to promote diversity within the Energy Commission. Therefore, be it resolved that the Energy Commission recognizes and thanks Alana Matthews. So coming up, let's do a photo. Vice Chair Scott is going to read the one in Chinese, and we'll give these. All right, let's do a photo up here. Yeah, actually, would you like to say a few words first, then we do the photo? Yeah, why don't we do that first, then yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
Okay. So I will say, I just want to say thank you to the chair, Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Douglas, Commissioner McAllister, and our new commissioner, which I have had an opportunity to meet. But thank you all really for the support in the role. And I was only able to achieve everything that I've done as public advisor because of what you all have been able to support. And I hope those things are going to carry forward. And then the last thing I will say, even though I'm not a public advisor, I'll make a recommendation, is that you all be leaders in stopping the use of the term disadvantaged community, because it really is a pejorative term, and that community did not place it on itself, and they don't like it. So I know it's a universal term used throughout the state. Maybe I have an opportunity to do something about that, but I'd ask you to just be leaders and carry forward with at least one small thing that you can do as how communities identify themselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
Right.
Alana, thank you.
Well, I think we should begin every meeting with the celebration of Alana. Why don't we just? Great. Thank you so much for coming. And let's move on to item 3, Magnolia Public Schools Prop 39 appeal. And why don't we start off with our acting public advisor, Jennifer Martin Gallardo.
Good morning, Chair Hochschild, Vice Chair Scott, and Commissioners. I am Jennifer Martin Gallardo, Acting Public Advisor. This matter involves an appeal under the Energy Commission's Proposition 39 K-12 Schools program. The program guidelines specify that appeals are to be sent to the Public Advisor, and the Public Advisor is to arrange for the appeal to be presented to the Energy Commission at a business meeting. On May 1st, 2019, Magnolia Public Schools filed an appeal of the Executive Director's denial of its petition for reconsideration, of staff's denial of its request to amend its energy expenditure plan for Magnolia Science Academy, San Diego, to change the school's site location. A copy of the letter of appeal, the underlying petition for reconsideration, the Executive Director's decision on the petition, and supporting documentation have been provided in your backup materials. A representative for Magnolia Schools is here today to present their appeal, and Commission staff is also on hand to provide a response. While I would like to be of further assistance should you have substantive questions, my role today is merely to facilitate the presentation of this matter. It would be appropriate for you to direct any substantive questions to Magnolia and Commission staff. Thank you.
Okay, please proceed.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Patrick Ontiveros. I'm the Director of Real Estate and General Counsel for Magnolia Public Schools, a network of 10 high-performing public charter schools. I'm here with James Richmond of First Note Finance, our Prop 39 Energy Manager, and with Gokhan Sersh, the Principal of Magnolia Science Academy, San Diego. We're here to respectfully request that the Commission grant our appeal to allow us to move forward with our Prop 39 award and improve our campus. I'm now going to turn the presentation over to my co-presenters.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Gokhan Sersh. First of all, I would like to ask Jennifer if you can actually pass out the additional achievements and highlights of our school that I would like to, because when you talk about the school, there are so many things that students are doing. So, and we have limited time, so I just provided additional pictures of all the year-round events, and also from different occasions, the elected official support letters from our community. Again, my name is Gokhan Sersh, and this is my 9th year with Magnolia, and this is my 5th year as the principal. Magnolia Wizards opened in 2005-2006 school year and has been serving San Diego community for 14 years. Magnolia Public Schools' mission is we provide a college preparatory education with STEAM focus, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, in a safe environment that cultivates respect for self and others. Our achievements attest that Magnolia is providing a state-of-the-art education program. We are not only providing a successful academic program, but also Magnolia Wizards take the lead in engineering, archery, robotics, and band in Southern California. Some of the highlights of our STEAM ambassadors, I'm just gonna present actually here now. So you see our state champion archers. They were actually highlighted on 10 News, CBS this year. And we have been doing archery program for almost now 6 years, and we also won national 3rd place, so it's a great opportunity for our students. Another big achievement is, as I mentioned, our students also academically really successful. So based on the last 5 years state test results, we are the highest performing charter middle school in the city of San Diego and highest performing middle school in our neighborhood. And our STEAM ambassadors also, we have robotics programs, and our students for the last 4 years in a row, won the 1st place at Legoland Southern California robotics competition. And one other highlight is we offer a lot of engineering programs, and recently our students won the regional Seaperch competition, which is an underwater robotics competition. Students design their submarines, and then they won, and they will be going to the international finals in Maryland. So why did I share all those things? Because I want you to consider that this is a school and there are a lot of things happening at the school. I know that we are going to talk about energy component, but in our LCAP meetings, one of the feedback that our stakeholders gave us is to improve facilities to provide better learning environment. Today, I would like to urge you to accept our appeal so that we can use Prop 39 funds to upgrade all the air conditioning and lighting so that we can keep the operational funding to provide our students a better educational environment. And also with these upgrades, our energy bill will decrease around $24,000 every year that we can actually provide additional resources. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak today. I'm James Richmond. I'm the Prop 39 Energy Manager for Magnolia Public Schools. Magnolia is Energy Commission Prop 39 approved in 8 of its Los Angeles area schools, but the 9th Magnolia school in San Diego has encountered some impediments, and so we're here to tell you about those impediments and ask for your blessing in moving forward. You see, right after the Energy Commission approved its Prop 39 application, Magnolia Science Academy was moved to a new site by San Diego Unified School District. There was very little notice given by the district. Next slide. Yep. We initially saw this move as an opportunity. You see, the old school was very old, built in the 1960s, with a boiler that barely works, inefficient lighting, and the few classrooms with air conditioning have terribly inefficient systems. It was our understanding that the Prop 39 funding would move to the new site with the Department of Education CDS code, so we weren't worried. Next slide. Things slid downhill from there. Magnolia had little time to get the new school site ready for classes in the fall of 2017. To start school, old, used portable classrooms had to be purchased, and San Diego Gas and Electric was way behind schedule, taking them almost 9 months to hook up electricity. The new school site was forced to run on diesel generator in the interim. Again, we weren't worried because we knew we'd be able to upgrade the classrooms with new LED lighting and new HVAC systems using the voter-initiated, Energy Commission-approved Prop 39 Clean Energy Jobs Act. The funding was already in the bank. We just needed a year of baseline utility bills and a new energy audit. Easy, right? Unfortunately, the SDG&E delays in connecting electricity caused us to miss an important deadline because the baseline year of electricity bills for the new campus were not complete until after the February 26, 2018 deadline had passed. To add insult to injury, the new utility bills revealed that the school's energy costs had more than doubled after the move. And my colleagues, this is a simple plan. that will have excellent results. The old T12 lighting, have you ever heard of that in California anymore? T12 lighting will change to LED, and the old clunky HVAC systems will be replaced with new energy efficient units. Compared to other items on your agenda today, the cost is negligible. The energy savings to the school are significant in comparison. The projects are ready to go, and the funding is already in Magnolia's bank account. Jobs created, and 400 kids will have a better place to learn. It is certainly what the voters in California intended. And thank you very much for your time today.
So the question arises, why did MSA San Diego have to move? Well, as has been stated, through no fault of our own, San Diego Unified sold the property on which our campus had been located. We had very little notice and very little opportunity to react. But we did do a site search for private facilities, but unfortunately came up short. We could not find anything that was affordable and could be opened in time for the 2017-2018 school year. Eventually, San Diego Unified did offer us a site 5 miles away. But as James mentioned, it was not a move-in ready campus, and we had to scramble to assemble a campus. So we had to basically scrape the entire site, and in order to save time, we purchased modular buildings. Some of them new, others quite old, but it was what we had to do to keep our doors open. So when the dust settled, we spent about $9 million to build a campus entirely of modular school buildings. Sorry. So why should this CEC approve our use of the Prop 39 award? Well, I go back to the purpose of Prop 39, which is to fund eligible projects that create jobs in California, improving energy efficiency and expanding clean energy generation. The legislation further notes that financial savings from more efficient buildings can be used to pay for other upgrades and programs that enhance student learning, and that is definitely the intent in our use of the award. So the guidelines were developed in accordance with Prop 39 and SB 73 and adopted under the Public Resources Code. The handbook was developed and prepared by the Energy Commission staff as an instructional guide. And under Public Resources Code 26205.5, available remaining funds, which were defined as funds allocated to an LEA that had not submitted an EEP, were to be reappropriated for other uses. In our case, we did submit an EEP, but as you've heard, through no fault of our own, we were forced to change locations, and our Prop 39 award was put in jeopardy. So the guidelines did not establish the February 26, 2018 deadline. This was a staff revision of the handbook. And under the handbook, LEAs may actually still amend their EEPs, but they are not allowed to increase costs. Such amendments must be either cost neutral or decrease costs. This is a logical measure to ensure that the statutory deadline of March 1st was met while still allowing projects to move forward. Our proposed amendment to our EEP is no more or less burdensome to staff than would be a new EEP. We believe the difference between an amended EEP and a new EEP with no budget changes is purely semantics. So long as there are no budget changes are proposed, they're effectively the same thing.
Could you wrap up? We had allocated 10 minutes for this.
Sorry.
Thanks.
It's also a matter of fairness. Charter schools are public school students. Charter schools often rely on school districts to provide them with facilities as required under California state law. However, they are at a severe disadvantage vis-a-vis other public schools because the district can often take away their facilities with little or no notice. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's hear from staff.
Thank you. My name is Bill Fanner. I am a supervisor and program lead for the Proposition 39 California Clean Energy Jobs Act program. I'll try to keep this brief. But staff recommends supporting the executive director's decision to deny the Magnolia Science Academy San Diego's petition for reconsideration based on the following. Public Resources Code allows the Energy Commission to create Proposition 39 program guidelines to establish process for educational agencies to submit new and to amend energy expenditure plans. A new energy expenditure plan is required when relocating energy measures from one school site to another, because the school must show that energy measures are cost-effective using the savings to investment ratio. Cost savings can vary for the same energy measures installed at two different buildings because the baseline conditions of the buildings may differ. For each new application, an audit must be conducted and an application showing a positive saving to investment ratio must be reviewed and approved. Public Resources Code also established specific Prop 39 program timelines so the unused program funds could be reallocated to new programs. The key deadline was March 1st, 2018, when all used program funds were reallocated to the school bus replacement and the EECA competitive loan program. Accordingly, the last day to submit a new energy expenditure plan was February 26, 2018, ahead of the March 1st cutoff. The applicant states in their petition for reconsideration that the move to the new site was in October of 2017, but did not notify the Prop 39 program of the move until March 2019, over 1 year after the deadline to file a new application. The next day, staff denied Magnolia's request because relocating energy measures from one school site to another is not an allowable amendment under the guidelines. Instead, Magnolia would have to submit a new energy expenditure plan, and that would have had to have happened by February 2018 deadline. For these reasons, staff requests you deny Magnolia Science Academy San Diego's appeal of the executive director's decision to deny their petition for reconsideration. And I'm available to answer questions. I have legal staff, Jack and Moore here also.
Thank you. Commissioner McAllister?
Does that staff or...
Oh, I'm sorry. Was there any public comment on this? My mistake. Thank you. Commissioner McAllister?
Just wanted to see if executive director or other staff had anything to add on this. No? Okay. So going back to the beginning of this program, we had lots of discussions about the guidelines, that have since been adopted. They've been adopted by the commission. We were grateful for a guidelines process because it makes life easier for everybody. And charter schools, there are lots of different flavors, and we developed rules to apply to charter schools. And issues of site control and other issues came up, and they were front and center, and we had to make calls on that. I think the rules are clear. So in this case, I'm going to recommend that we apply the rules. It was very clear to staff the day after they found out the full situation. They made a call that was clear within the rules, and the executive director backed that up. So which is not to say that anybody enjoys seeing T12s persist in the world. So we're absolutely willing to work with you on other options, which there are some other options. There's EECA, the zero interest loan program. There is a bill actually in the legislature now that may refund Prop 39 to a significant degree. So, keep that program moving forward. Lorena Gonzalez is the author of that bill, and it may end up with $300 million to keep the program moving forward for schools. So, denial is certainly not a expression of lack of faith in your mission or any denigration of the project. It's absolutely a valid project that we want to work with you to get done. It's just this is not the mechanism because that time has passed. So, I would say I know that staff is willing to work with you to try to figure out other options and to move forward. But in this case, it's pretty clear that the funds have to go elsewhere and they have to move forward into the new iterations and the new allocations, appropriations that the legislature has done for those funds. So So that's my recommendation to my colleagues.
Thanks. Other comments from commissioners? Okay, would you like to make a motion?
I'll move denial of the petition
There is-
for item 3.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes unanimously. Thanks for
So I,
Chief
excuse me, I
Counsel.
just have one question. I think staff also prepared a proposed order. Is that correct, in support of the denial?
I did not see that in the.
No?
No, I
So
didn't see that in
then-
the packet.
Okay, so then this is just going to be an oral vote, and it's going to be recorded as such, but you don't have a corresponding order.
Yeah, correct. But I did say denial in my motion, right? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks for coming in. All right, let's move on to item 4, order and student informational proceeding. Staff.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Heather Raitt, the Assistant Executive Director for Policy Development. Staff is asking the Commission's approval for an order instituting informational proceeding to gather and assess information needed for the 2019 Integrated Energy Policy Report, or the 2019 IPER for short. The Commission is required to prepare an IPER every 2 years with an update in the intervening year that assesses California's electricity, natural gas, and transportation fuel sectors. Vice Chair Scott, as lead commissioner for the 2019 IPER, issued the scoping order on March 20th that identifies the topics that will be covered in this year's report. The topics include the zero-emission vehicle market and infrastructure, energy equity, energy efficiency and building decarbonization, decarbonizing the electricity sector, energy reliability in Southern California, the energy demand forecast, and assessment of natural gas and climate adaptation in the energy sector. Adoption of this order complies with our regulatory requirements for opening an informational proceeding and delegates authority to the lead commissioner to conduct hearings to gather and assess information needed to complete the IPER. Thank you for your consideration.
Are there any public comments on this? Hearing none, Vice Chair Scott?
I will move approval of item 4.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Thought you might. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 5, building energy efficiency standards, residential and non-residential alternative calculation, method reference manuals.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Larry Fraze, and I'm a senior mechanical. Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Larry Fraze, and I'm a senior mechanical engineer in the Building Standards Office. I'm here today requesting your approval of 2 2019 Building Energy Efficiency Standards tools, which are items 5 and 6 on the agenda, for the reference manuals and the compliance software. I will be presenting both items individually. So, agenda item 5. I'm seeking your approval on the residential and non-residential alternative calculation method manuals, also known as the ACM reference manuals. The 2019 ACM reference manuals provide the descriptions used by compliance software to model energy use of a proposed building and compare it to that building's standard design energy budget. Public workshops for the ACM reference manuals were conducted, and 2 general comments were received. The first comment was that stakeholders want an alternative all-electric baseline for non-residential buildings. The staff has explained that while prioritization has gone into creating an all-electric baseline for low-rise residential buildings, more time and study is needed to determine if a non-residential all-electric baseline is practical for the 2019 Energy Code. And the second comment received are from stakeholders that want to model a central electric water heater for multifamily buildings. The central electric water heater feature is currently under research and development, and we aim to have it in the software by the end of the year. By requesting your approval today of the 2019 residential and non-residential ACM reference manuals, the building industry will have the documents and information needed more than 6 months in advance of the effective date, January 1, 2020. Thank you, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, any public comment on this item? If not, let's move to Commissioner McAllister.
Okay, no public comment. So thanks, Larry. it's really important that we have these materials out so that stakeholders can look at them, get used to them, get their heads around them, and in order to really, have the rubber hit the road January 1 when the new code goes into effect. So I'm really glad we've gotten them ahead of the game, ahead of 6 months, and that's really good. I think that precedent from last time, we're carrying it through. We're really trying to keep lockstep with our commitments in each 3-year code cycle. So I appreciate that. And then also I just want to note that central water heater tool or module is, that's a priority. We really aim to get that in by the end of the year. I want to sort of apply pressure where needed to make sure that actually happens. And also, the electric baseline, the comments, stakeholders participated vigorously, and been a lot of meetings with staff that I'm aware of, and I really understand the concern or the desire to have more tools in the electric space to be able to design buildings that comply with code, but also help us move in the direction we're moving overall in policy in decarbonization across the state. And so, electrification is one important tool to move in that direction. So we do need to enable that. And so the figuring out what that baseline looks like for non-res is relatively complex, but it does need to be done. And so I agree with the stakeholders there, which is not to say that we've found a way to shoehorn it into the process now, right? So, this stuff gets pretty technical pretty quick, and so, I don't want to go into any detail at all. But, what we did in the res space, I think, is really important and provided a lot of comfort out there for stakeholders and for people who are thinking outside the box, who are trying to design buildings that really last in California in our policy environment for the long term. And we need to do the same thing in non-res. And so I'm willing to work with stakeholders and obviously with staff. I think we should keep mashing our heads together to see how to move that forward more quickly. Whatever schedule we can get put in place. But all that said, we really need to adopt the ACM now.
Any other comments from other commissioners? Hearing none, do you want to make a motion? Go ahead, Commissioner Monahan.
I'll move item 5.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 6, 2019 Public Domain Residential Compliance Software. Go ahead.
I was asked to move to the podium here. For agenda item 6, I'm seeking your approval for the 2019 Public Domain Residential and Non-Residential Compliance Software, otherwise known as CBEC Res and CBEC Com. The CBEC software packages show compliance with the performance approach for newly constructed buildings and additions and alterations to existing buildings. The 2019 versions of the software incorporates the requirements of the 2019 Building Energy Efficiency Standards as described in the 2019 ACM reference manuals approved today in item 5. New for the 2019 residential software is the Energy Design Rating Metric, or EDR, which incorporates PV solar systems to show compliance for newly constructed buildings. And it also has the availability of several new compliance credits, including battery storage, pre-cooling, and the self-utilization credit that applies some of the PV benefit to the efficiency EDR when a battery is installed. New for the 2019 non-residential software is the modeling of healthcare facilities, an adjusted HVAC system map, the modeling of variable refrigerant flow or VRF equipment, and an updated simulation engine using newer versions of Energy Plus and Open Studio for faster simulation runtimes and access to new features. By requesting your approval today on these items, we are ensuring that the building industry has the software needed to demonstrate compliance with the 2019 Building Energy Efficiency Standards more than 6 months in advance of the effective date of January 1, 2020. Thank you, and I'm here to answer any questions.
All right, thanks. We do have, or unless there's a question, we do have public comment on this item. Let's hear from Mr. Raymer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I'm Bob Raymer, a senior engineer with the Building Industry Association. And as you can imagine, we're in very strong support of the certification of the program today. I guess we've got a number of members, at least 9 major builder members that would like to start complying with this yesterday. The reason for that is not just to, effectively show that the standards work, but as you can imagine, a phased project that has hundreds and hundreds of buildings that are going to be in it. It's good to go into the building department with a set of plans that shows compliance with one set of standards and to continue to comply with that set of standards so that in January, when you're submitting permits for new structures, you can still show compliance with the new standards, as opposed to having to reapply under the new regs versus the old regs. We've got builders doing solar right now. And so to avoid the cost and the delay as January 1 hits, we'd like to have a very smooth transition. So I guess the question I have through you to the staff is, when will we actually have access to the computer program for use in the field? That's an important question.
All right, let's hear from staff.
Yeah, Bob. So after approval today, we probably need 2 more weeks to get it polished and available for the public. So our target is May 30th or before.
Oh, that's incredible. That's great.
Let the record show 7 months before the effective date of the new
Duly
code. So.
Okay, I'm giddy. Seriously, we've got 9 major builder throughout the state, all over. Some in Northern California, but most in Southern. Who would like to go forward and start doing projects showing compliance with this now. So thank you very much, and we'll be getting the word out to our membership. I'll coordinate with Larry and Deanne, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Raymer. And as always, I just really appreciate your dialogue. This is exactly how this partnership should work between the industry and government, and you're playing always a critical role in just communicating. So thank you for your ongoing participation.
On a related note, I just got invited to give a presentation at our National Association builder meeting in January. Well, there'll be a couple thousand builders who are wondering, what have you done with California? And the idea is to show that it's a smooth transition, that the world did not end, and that life is going on merrily. And so by getting this well in advance, that's a big help. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Raymer. Let's move. Sorry, do you want to
do some voting here?
Unless there's other public comment, anyone on the phone? Okay. Let's move on to commissioner discussion.
Great. So, along those lines, yesterday, actually, I was at the Housing Leadership Summit down in Dana Point, and it's some of the biggest builders across the country. And we had a similar discussion to sort of, a little bit of demystification of California, and, hearing about the partnership that we have with the building industry and the stakeholders and the trade allies and all that stuff in developing the new code was a total eye-opener to many of those folks who don't do as much business in California. And I think they were pleasantly surprised at all the progress we're making and the coordination and the transparency that we're doing it with. So, I agree with you, and that sounds like a great opportunity to spread the word. So, anyway, thanks a lot, Larry. I guess I want to point out just a couple of things. I know we're trying to move things forward, but. Bringing the healthcare industry, the healthcare facilities into the code is actually a big deal. And we've been working on that. Staff has been doing a great job working with Oshpod and others to figure out how to, they've been exempt from the building code, but for the most part, for the energy piece of the building code. And so bringing them in is sort of a voluntary thing on their part, but they want to do it. They want to do it in ways that make sense. And so we're working with them to build the coalition and build the kind of vision for how they're going to gradually be subject to the building code. And so I think that's really terrific. And then the metrics, this energy design rating, it is wonky, it sounds wonky, but it is a step in the direction towards understanding how distributed generation and energy efficiency can work together to create grid responsive buildings, which is where we're going for the long term. And so we're really laying the groundwork for future cycles to have buildings play a solution role in our clean grid evolution. So I'm really excited about that. We're laying a lot of groundwork, and that's going to continue in the 2022 update. So really excited to have that conversation. So anyway, with that, unless there are other comments, okay, I'll move item 6.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 7, City of San Luis Obispo.
Thanks, Larry.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Dave Michelle of the Local Assistance and Finance Office within the Efficiency Division. We are requesting approval of an Energy Conservation Assistance Act, also known as EECA, a loan to the City of San Luis Obispo. The city submitted an application for a $3 million EECA-funded loan to install a 261 kilowatt single axis ground mounted photovoltaic system and replace a 264 kilowatt hydroelectric generating system, both located at their city's water treatment plant. Over the useful life of the equipment of 17 years, this project will save approximately 1,739 megawatt hours of grid electricity and save the city annually approximately $267,000 in utility costs. The Energy Commission staff has determined that this loan is technically sound, cost effective, and based on the loan amount, the simple payback is approximately 11.2 years for this loan, well within the requirements of the EECA program. We respectfully request your approval of this item for the city of San Luis Obispo. I'm prepared to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Great. Is there any public comment on this item? Hearing none, Commissioner McAllister? Well, I was going to say, this is the first hydroelectric EECA project that I can recall since I've been on the commission. Is this the first one ever that we funded?
No.
We've done others. Okay.
I do believe I saw one yesterday come through a year or two ago.
Did we do an inline one before? I think maybe.
This is an inline.
Oh, it is. Okay.
This
great.
is an inline as well.
Yeah.
We're doing some. I can't. One of the other staff members showed me another one. I think it was in 2017.
Yeah.
Something like that. So we've done them before.
Look, I welcome this, and I just want to point out, I mean, just to restate the obvious here, what's happening in solar prices is probably the single biggest energy story to me in the last 20 years because it's fallen so radically. And I just came back from another solar research center visit. There's a lot more cost reduction still to come, but our grid can't operate on solar alone. It's really important to have diversity within our portfolio of renewables, and so it's wonderful to see a hydro project like this happen. I hope there's more to come, and really encouraging. I just want to say again, with EECA, we take this program for granted. This is an incredible program. I think we've funded almost 1,000 buildings now since it was started in 1980, somewhere around that time frame. Not a single default, to my knowledge, and it's just a tribute to staff for the diligence that we're exercising, and this is the kind of thing I would love to see a lot more resources come in because it does so much good. So, thank you for all your work on this. So, with that,
having market acceptance of this inline technology, and I think there are California companies doing really wonderful things on that, and there's just so much potential. So it's good to see us sponsoring some of it and getting that market traction. So I'll move this item.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to
Thank you.
item 8, Zero Net Energy Alliance Incorporated.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is James Friedrich from the Energy Research and Development Division. I am here requesting approval of a $5 million grant agreement with the Zero Net Energy Alliance for the demonstration of an advanced energy community in the city of Lancaster. In 2016, the Energy Commission issued a solicitation titled The EPIC Challenge, Accelerating the Deployment of Advanced Energy Communities. This was a two-phase solicitation that challenged multidisciplinary project teams to partner with local governments and develop innovative and replicable approaches for accelerating the deployment of advanced energy communities. Phase 1 of the competition focused on the planning and design, while Phase 2 focuses on the build-out and deployment. In 2011, the city of Lancaster set a goal to become the first zero-net energy city in California. However, there are significant barriers to clean energy deployment at this scale, including temporal imbalances in energy production, unproven business models, and capturing the value of distributed energy resources on an aggregated and integrated basis from multiple stakeholder perspectives. In collaboration with the City of Lancaster and Lancaster Choice Energy, Z&E Alliance and their team will build out the advanced energy community that they developed in Phase 1 of the EPIC Challenge. So this advanced energy community involves three major components. First, this project will deploy 2 residential microgrids in the city of Lancaster. These residential microgrids are unique because they are all electric, built to Z&E, single-family homes, and our affordable housing. They'll also be deploying one residential microgrid with lithium-ion battery storage side by side with another microgrid deploying flywheel energy storage for a side-by-side comparison. Second, renewable microgrids will be deployed at 3 Lancaster City schools, allowing these schools to function as shelters in case of an emergency. 7 additional Lancaster City schools will have battery storage installed and paired with existing PV. Third, this project will fund the Lancaster Green District Program, which is an innovative public-private partnership model to deploy battery storage in high-load commercial and industrial facilities in the city. All of these resources will be integrated into a virtual power plant that optimizes for cost savings, revenue generation, and grid resiliency. The Lancaster Virtual Power Plant will demonstrate how local load-serving entities can help mitigate the problem of solar overgeneration and intermittency with economic DER solutions. In total, the Lancaster Virtual Power Plant is expected to integrate 5 megawatts of PV and 10 megawatt hours of storage. Staff expect this project to demonstrate technological advancements and innovative business models that enable high penetrations of solar PV and battery storage that are affordable and feasible for both the utility and its customers. Once demonstrated, this model can scale across the state and pave the way for other communities to deploy advanced energy communities. That concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Great, thank you. Are there any public comments on this item? Hearing none, let's move to Vice Chair. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, come on up. And can you state your name as well?
Hi, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Richard Shorsky. I'm the Executive Director of the Z&E Alliance. Just wanted to thank James for this presentation and the Commission for the support of this project over several years now. And to note and underscore the fact that many CCAs are really looking at how they can get to 100% renewable, as you know, on a very accelerated basis. And the issue of integrating DERs to establish effectively a scenario in which not only solar and storage, but also EV can be integrated into the VPP construct is one that's really front and center for most CCAs now. And we have a number of other engagements with CCAs, notably Silicon Valley Clean Energy, potentially Peninsula Clean Energy, that are looking to do this at scale. So we think we can very quickly turn around the results of this project and bring a VPP construct to numerous CCAs around the state. So we thank you for your consideration of this request.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none. Vice Chair Scott.
Yeah, I just want to say this is very exciting. I think you all will recall when we first talked about the advanced energy communities and the kind of the phase 1, phase 2, and I was really excited about it. And at that time I worked on transportation, I said we need some of this in transportation as well, right? So we're going to have that coming on the charging infrastructure side with these communities. But I love the what we've put together here, right? So it's asking communities to plan what does it look like for the future, and it's exciting. It sparks creativity. It sparks a lot of innovation. We have an ability to demonstrate what advanced energy communities look like at scale, as Richard said. Thank you, Richard, for being here. And we're looking to try to make these replicable, but we also recognize that not all communities are the same, right? And so we have communities all over the state kind of looking into how to be these communities of the future and really demonstrate what our electric grid can look like in the future. So I'm very excited about this project. My question on all of them is, when do we get to go see it? So I heartily recommend approval of item 8, unless others had comments.
I just want to say, this is not only, it's an incredibly interesting technical challenge. I mean, we need, sort of this integration process to really be proven out and to be, get the cost down and all that. And this is a great project to do that. So we're going to learn a lot on the technical and kind of management operational front. But also, I think we're going to learn a fair amount that's going to inform our policy deliberations going forward, with the CCAs and all the questions about what procurement looks like for the long term, whether the CCAs can pool together to do larger procurements. in this virtual construct. So I think there are just a lot of policy questions that this is going to help inform, and I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add my own congratulations as well to Vice Chair Scott, to Lori Tenhope, the whole team here that's been working on this. I think it's visionary, and also especially to the city of Lancaster. And I met with Mayor Paris a number of years ago. You do not have to be a big city to make a big difference. And I just think the city of Lancaster has absolutely distinguished itself. I mean, the first solar mandate on pushing LEDs. I mean, a bunch of other things. It's just been pathbreaking for a city of 150,000 or something like that, right? And it's incredible. No, and a Republican mayor, and that's this is leadership, and I just want to recognize that. And I would say this is part of the ecosystem and mosaic of other pathbreaking things we're doing around building resilience into the grid, including the LA Air Force Base and those 43 electric vehicle projects, just demonstrating new ways, essentially, to help provide grid reliability and other benefits. And it's just visionary. Really proud to support this project. Are there any other comments?
Can I say something really
yeah, go ahead.
fast? So yeah, when I was reviewing this one, I put a yes with triple exclamation points afterwards. It is like so visionary, so path-breaking, and really a way that the city of Lancaster can lead California and other cities across the globe on how to be zero net energy. My only hope is that going forward, we'll figure out how to integrate electric vehicles in there to be able to add another resource to the grid and see how we can make sure that we have zero emission transportation as well as energy use broadly.
Well said. All right. With that, did you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll second.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye.
I thought
Or did you?
No,
you moved. So we got a second.
Let me do it
Why
again.
don't you do it again? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I move approval of item 8.
Okay.
Second.
So second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 9: seismic risk assessment and enhanced training.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and the Commissioners. My name is Yahui Yang, and I'm with Energy Research and Development Division. Today, we are requesting your approval of 2 agreements. These agreements resulted from a research solicitation intended to enhance the seismic risk assessment, as well as management for natural gas infrastructure, including pipelines as well as underground storage facilities. So this solicitation was driven by concerns on San Bruno as well as Aliso Canyon incidents. And during the development of this solicitation, we also coordinated with CPUC and Dogger in order to make the research beneficial to them as well. So these 2 agreements will develop open source software tool for improved seismic risk assessment and mitigation strategies. However, they will take independent approaches to analyzing and quantifying various types of hazards that threaten natural gas infrastructure. So in the first agreement with UCLA, the recipient will develop a seismic risk assessment methodology that quantifies earthquake ground motion, fault displacement hazard, landslide, and liquefaction risks. The methodology will be tested in collaboration with pipeline and storage facility operators in California. The agreement will implement the new risk management approach into an easy-to-use open-source software tool, and the recipient will develop a guidance document for the end users in order to adopt the tool. And the tool will result in more accurate identification of seismic risks and selection of the most effective mitigation measures. The second agreement is with UC Berkeley. The recipient will develop a suite of earthquake scenarios with associated rates of occurrence and overlay the scenario-based maps on natural gas systems. The recipient will model seismic impacts on pipeline and storage systems and test the seismic performance of system components by using mechanical shake tables and develop a seismic risk analysis software tool for both utilities and regulators. The tool will be validated at existing pipeline and storage facilities. To promote the user adoption of the tool, the recipient will also engage the end users throughout the project and incorporate user needs and additional requirements for the tool capacity. So if successful, this agreement will lead to improved gas supply reliability, increased public safety, reduction of greenhouse gas emission, and better system resiliency. Staff recommend approval of these two agreements, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, let's move to commissioner discussion.
Sure, I just want to say on this, I appreciate the excellent briefing from staff on these projects and to understand the critical research need that this will help fill. I think it's pretty cool that we have two of the premier seismic risk assessment programs in the world working on this for us. And I also appreciate the good coordination that we have with the Public Utilities Commission and with Dogger. Other thoughts or comments? So with that, then, I will move approval of item 9.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 10, demonstrating innovative solutions to convert California's residual forest biomass resources into renewable gas.
So I believe that we have a disclosure on this item.
I think we have a disclosure, but not a recusal, correct? Commissioner Douglas?
Because I have been and am a adjunct law professor. I teach a renewable energy law class at UC Davis, King Hall, which is not itself involved in this, but UC Davis itself is. Yes, for item 10A. And the class is over.
Okay.
So I've recovered my Tuesday nights, which I'm thrilled about. Thank you.
All right, congratulations. All right, let's move on to item 10.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Prab Sethi, and I'm a Senior Mechanical Engineer in the Energy Generation Research Office. To find a solution for disposal of bark beetle-infested trees, a competitive solicitation was released to fund renewable energy and advanced generation pilot-scale research projects. These projects were to convert forest waste biomass to renewable gas. Up to $4 million are available to fund this solicitation from Peer Natural Gas Research and Development Program. This program provides long-term benefits to natural gas ratepayers by developing technologies and products that provide clean, diverse, and environmentally sound energy systems and reduce consumption of fossil natural gas. The following two projects from this solicitations are proposed to be funded. The project with West Biofuel will advance the state of biomass conversion to renewable gas by utilizing an existing pilot-scale gasification system, a scaled-up catalytic reactor, and a new gas separation process using forest fuels from a high-hazard zone. The proposed process will produce mixed alcohol byproducts and high-quality renewable gas expected to meet gas standards of Southern California Gas Company and PG&E. This project will reduce the risk of infrastructure damage from wildfire and will produce renewable gas with a carbon intensity of 75% below that of fossil natural gas. The second project, Taylor Energy, will use a unique pilot-scale pulse detonation gasification and reforming process to convert 5 tons per day forest biomass into high-quality renewable gas. The burner used for gasification uses high-pressure pulse in the form of high-velocity gas momentum and shock waves for better mixing of feedstock and complete combustion. The system is designed to reduce system capital cost, improve efficiency, and reduced environmental impact for the forest waste to renewable gas energy pathway. This project is located in Southern California in disadvantaged community, and I request approval of funding for these two projects. Thank you.
Thank you. Are any public comments on this item? If not, let's go to Vice Chair Scott.
Okay, just a couple additions to the terrific presentation. These are useful projects here to help advance the technologies that address forest waste. And that ties back to Governor Brown proclamation of state of emergency regarding tree mortality. And so I think it will be great to get these going and to see how they can address forest waste and keep advancing that technology forward. So,
you know, I'll just add that yesterday we had a workshop, and it was, and Commissioner Scott and I were in attendance, but it was with California Native American tribes about California Energy Commission programs and so on. And of course, among many of the tribes, there's a lot of interest in participating in or finding ways to deal with wood waste. It's a statewide interest, but because a lot of tribes are rural and they have pretty high fire hazard issues, it's a particular interest. So I was definitely interested in seeing this and very supportive of it. Anything we can do.
Other comments? Do you want to make a motion?
I will move approval of item 10.
Second?
Oh. Second.
Commissioner Monahan seconds. All in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes unanimously. Let's move on to item 11, demonstration scale biofuels production facilities.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. My name is Andrew Hom with the Fuels and Transportation Division. I'm here to present to the Energy Commission two projects that were proposed for funding through our most recent demonstration scale biofuel production solicitation. This solicitation provided a little over $12 million in funding for projects that would prove an innovative technology or process in biofuel production at a demonstration scale level. The first item is an agreement with Oberon Fuels for nearly $2.9 million to expand their pilot production plant for dimethyl ether, or DME, to achieve production of 830,000 diesel gallon equivalents per year. The project will utilize renewable methanol converted from wood waste pulp and be processed into DME fuel with an approximate carbon intensity of 21.6 grams of CO2 equivalents per megajoule. The fuel will also be used to further support vehicle testing of DME in heavy-duty trucks. The project will create 11 jobs. This grant will fund upgrades to the existing facility in Brawley, California, while adding benefits and economic development to a disadvantaged community in the Imperial Valley. Oberon's dimethyl ether plant was evaluated by the lead agency, the Imperial County Planning and Development Services Department, which adopted an initial study and mitigated negative declaration and conducted additional review for the plant modifications. Commission staff determined that this project causes no new significant or substantially more severe environmental impacts beyond those already considered and mitigated by the lead agency. The second item is for an agreement with Technology and Investment Solutions for $2 million to demonstrate a more sustainable and cost-effective process to achieve high BTU biogas production from anaerobic digestion. The process involves utilizing a biogas reformer and will cycle biogas production to produce hydrogen, which is then re-injected to the digester to increase the methane content to 90 to 95%. The biogas will then further be cleaned to remove contaminants, have a carbon intensity of approximately negative 25 grams of CO2 equivalents per megajoule, and be used to fuel waste hauling trucks. The project will create 5 operational jobs and be located at Meadowbrook Dairy in El Mirage, California, providing benefits and economic development to one of the most disadvantaged communities throughout the state. Staff is seeking adoption of the EECA findings and approval of both grant awards for item number 11. Thank you for your consideration. Dr. Rebecca Boudreau, President of Oberon Fuels, is here and would like to provide a comment. And Christian Tasser with Technology and Investment Solutions is online to answer any questions.
Yeah, please welcome Dr. Boudreau. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. My name is Rebecca Boudreau, and I'm the president of Oberon Fuels. And we are very honored to be among the January notice of proposed awardees. All the Oberon team greatly appreciates the work of the CEC staff. We know it's extensive in their CEQA analysis and bringing it before the board. This project offers the opportunity to produce the first renewable DME in the United States. And while this project focuses on the offtake of renewable DME as a diesel replacement, it also has the potential for renewable DME to be used as a hydrogen carrier and provide a source of in-state produced renewable hydrogen. So through these grant programs at the CEC, California continues to lead the way in being an innovative state and looking at new ways to decarbonize the transportation sector. So we greatly appreciate your leadership in this respect. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about this project. Thank you.
Thanks. And any other comments, by the way? Okay. Actually, if you could stay up there, I think there was a question on this. Commissioner Monahan.
Hi. So I'm coming in, pretty cold. I've only been here for a little over 2 weeks, so I apologize for the simplistic nature of the questions I'm going to ask you. But
No worries.
so DME is kind of an out-of-the-box fuel. I thought Volvo was the only company that was producing a truck capable of running on DME, and I think even in Sweden they're not really. It's more demonstration.
Still demonstration.
Can you?
Correct.
Would this be the first in the world then, a global, in terms of the production of DME? Would this be sort of the most DME that's being produced in the world?
Currently, DME is actually produced. It's been produced large scale for several decades as an.
I should say as a transportation fuel.
As a transportation,
yeah, 'cause
yes.
I know it's being used in China for cook stoves. And
Right.
yeah.
Yes. So as a transportation fuel, this would be the first renewable DME in the United States. There were some bio DME produced in Sweden several years ago, but they're not actively producing right now. And this would be the largest project for DME as a transportation fuel currently going on. Actually, next week, Ford is displaying the first DME-powered passenger car in the world that's being built in Berlin. We've been part of that project for 3.5 years. Actually, our Brawley plant provided fuel-grade DME for that project. And so they are building 2 Ford Mondeos that actually run on DME. So they've been an active leader there. Obviously, diesel's being used in passenger cars, but this will be the only active demonstration of heavy-duty vehicles running on DME as a diesel replacement.
And can you walk me through what a scale-up would look like? I mean, is this a boutique solution, or do you see a possibility for this to be national in scope?
Yeah, we actually believe that DME can make a big impact across the world. And so we see DME, while this project focuses on diesel replacement, so using compression ignition engines, either existing diesel engines with a different fuel system, or taking new OEM vehicles that have been coming off the line that can run on DME. So while that's the focus of this project, DME can actually be blended with propane up to 20% and drastically reduce its carbon intensity. So CARB gave an initial estimate. So if you convert dairy methane, which we have a lot of in state, to DME by the Oberon process, they estimate the carbon intensity to be minus 278. So at only a 5% blend with propane, so using existing vehicles, existing infrastructure, you can drop the carbon intensity by 18 points. And when you do a 20% blend, which is about the upper limits, then that blend takes the carbon intensity around 10. So you can, in addition to DME's diesel replacement, it can be blended with propane to decarbonize the transportation sector here in California, and also as a hydrogen carrier. So you produce, let's say, dairy methane to DME at a dairy farm in California, move it to the hydrogen fueling station, and strip off the hydrogens there.
I wonder, because this is one where I'm new and I'm really trying to understand, and this will be more than 5 minutes for me to have a conversation with you. And I would love to have a conversation with you and just kind of really explore how to move a solution like